90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. The alarm there with Marching On. And why do we have the alarm playing, brother? Not that we don't like to play the alarm, but this weekend was... Hold it.
This weekend was the New York gathering or the United States gathering, whichever you would like to prefer to call it, brother. That was where alarm fans from basically all over the world gathered in New York City.
Wow.
For...
Didn't it used to be in
Wales? You could say 4 days of festivities. Not used to, brother. Still is.
Oh, okay.
This is the United States gathering, the American gathering, the New York gathering,
okay,
as opposed to the Wales gathering, which is the original, and still, as I'm concerned, the best.
And you weren't able to make it because we were away this weekend.
Right. Family,
and
obligation.
Fun
stuff.
We went to a party, and it was nice to see our cousins again. We haven't seen them in a while, but we actually got some good insight, brother, from cousin Corey, because he was cousin Corey obviously listens. You know, he remembers last week's show or 2 weeks ago show when we were fighting.
Cousin Corey's a hardcore from the press box fan.
Yeah, so he came up with a good idea. He was very angry, and he sent me the article.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
No, not right now,
because I didn't have enough time to research. So.
I didn't either, but it seems
touch on it, brother.
It just seems that Rob Manfredi. I like
Manfred. Just Manfred.
I like called Manfredi.
Just no.
I know it's not his name, but
don't call him that.
It's his nickname. I give him a nickname.
No.
It seems like he's talking out loud, and if it was anyone else, I wouldn't care. But he's talking out loud about redoing the divisions, so everyone would be closer to each other, and it would help save money.
Pretty
on
insane
travel.
stuff. Pretty insane.
Which I can't believe if they would actually do it. But then again, some teams have switched divisions. Houston's gone to the American League, and the Braves went to the National... Not the Braves, the Brewers went to the National League. They were the Braves one time. So it was an interesting concept.
My whole problem with that and the possibility of this is that there would be a 4-team Northeast division that would have the Red Sox, Yankees, Mets, and Phillies. That's like 4 of the top 6 spending clubs. I don't know what their plan would be for playoffs or how that would work.
Right.
And that's why I need to research, and we'll probably talk touch on this subject next week more in depth. But just the prospect of that division and of a couple of the best teams in baseball maybe not making the playoffs because they're playing that sort of competition immediately irks me.
I agree. I would not want it, but I can see it happening. Some of it, at least. I guess
we'll find out.
We'll find out. Anyway, you're listening to From the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., talking sports. I am Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. And also, brother, we are part of the WHPC Sports Talk family, which is every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then, get this, every Tuesday night from 11 p.m. to midnight. So there are 7 hours of sports talk on this radio station. So
that's awesome.
If you'd like to call in with any comments or questions about anything in the world of sports, give us a call, 516-572-7440. And should we start off with Aaron Judge? This is a big deal, I think.
It is a big deal, brother, because there was a comment made by Yankees manager Aaron Boone a couple days ago or a few days ago that because the reporters, and I certainly don't blame the reporters for this, I think it's good reporting, is they are looking for a timeline and trying to ascertain when Aaron Judge will be back on the field for the Yankees. That's just being a good reporter.
Definitely.
It's your best player. It's the best player in the American League, judging by last year's MVP award. So everybody wants to know, when is Aaron Judge going to be back? Plus, the Yankees, let's face it, the Yankees are not close to the same team without Aaron Judge on the field.
Nope.
Boone's answer was bizarre, to say the least. His response was, I expect him back this season.
Wow.
And to which I was, as soon as I heard that or read it, I was like, what does that even mean? Because for Aaron Boone to say, I expect him back this season, it is implied in that response that Aaron Judge is going to be out for a significant period of time. You don't say something like, I expect him to be back this season if you expect him back in a couple of weeks.
No, you know, when someone says this season, you know,
it was a really bizarre response.
At least he indicated it was this season, not next season. So anyway, we
we got a call?
Yeah, we got a phone call.
Who's that, bro?
It's Hank.
Hank
out in Seaford. Welcome to From the Press Box. How you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing, man? It was funny. Last week I was trying to call because you guys are talking about a lot of different things, and I realized that you had your brother on the phone, and I guess that's why he was busy all the time.
It shouldn't be. You should have got through. I don't know why you didn't.
Get through, but all right. What do you got for us, Hank?
I tried. Two kind of quick comments, and I got one question for you. One, definitely talking about Aaron Judge, because you guys last week got into, I think, a little tiff about that, you know, and his injury and stuff. And you guys are, you know, introducing your show with him this week as well. I guess my thought is, do players play hurt anymore, or do they have it in their contracts and the owners buy insurance policies and they tell them to, you know, sit down until you're ready? You know what I mean?
The players play hurt. I mean, Aaron Judge has played hurt, but the problem with the injury that he has is he said the other day, we were about to get to this, he was the one who said that he has a torn ligament in his toe. Now, it might not sound like much, but it's in his right foot, and that's the foot that he has planted, and that's his push-off foot when he's hitting. So basically his right big toe is where a significant amount of his power is coming from, because that's where he's launching his swing from. So consider the fact that Aaron Judge does weigh 270 pounds, and he's putting that kind of torque on that area of his foot. Then yes, he does have to be 100% when he comes back. Otherwise, he's just going to keep aggravating it.
Okay.
And also, if you want to think of it in a different way, Aaron Judge's toe is like, you know, Sergeant Hulka in Stripes. He was the big toe, you know.
Yeah.
But in the same time, if he can't move on it, because the big toe is what, you know, your balance comes from when you have a foot problem.
Yeah, I mean, if he was just like a designated fielder, I think he'd probably be able to play, but he can't. The way that is right now, he can't hit with it.
Or if it was another toe, maybe you could say that too.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Second comment. I guess you guys maybe know or don't know, but I'm a Mets fan. You know, I've spoken to you guys before.
Thank you.
I'm not on the ledge, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I'm sad, but you know, in the past, the Mets have definitely had a history of bad ownership, being cheap, making disastrous trades. The only thing that I could really honestly say is that I think Steve Cohen, you got to just say the guy tried. And I think it's what you guys have been talking about probably all season, is that the players are not producing. You know, they're hitting 200. They're not winning series, that kind of thing. But you can't say ownership didn't try it. I mean, what is he spending? $360 million.
Well, you can't
in that ballpark.
You can't judge it by this year. We were hoping as Met fans that this was going to be the season, because you know how much money was invested in the team, and Steve Cohen obviously is not the Wilpons, thankfully. But hey, you know what? The Wilpons had some good years too. So you know, whether it was their fault or not, we can argue about that.
Probably wasn't.
But it probably wasn't. But you know what? Lindor has to, start. And Timmy hates this term, but he has to start stepping up to realize
he just needs to play.
Well,
he needs to play the way he's being paid. I mean, he was, and again, I think I used this example a couple of weeks ago. When George Steinbrenner paid Dave Collins a ton of money, and then they plugged him in as a number 3 hitter. Dave Collins was a slap hitter, speed guy, and you plug him into the 3 spot. Now, he's not all of a sudden going to hit home runs. But Francisco Lindor is that guy. They are paying him to be an elite hitter because that's what he was.
Right.
And that's what he has been throughout his career. They are paying him to be himself, but he is not being himself.
Yeah, well, what I would hope that he would do is, there's got to be a batting coach that can sit down and say, okay, well, let's look at this. I assume they are, but I don't know. We haven't heard anything.
Of course there are.
We haven't heard anything.
I mean, Felix Millan had a career average, I think, of like 279. He had 1,600 hits. And I don't think Lindor, maybe he's only, even when he was with Cleveland, I don't think he hit higher than that maybe once in his career. I mean, he's got to step it up, you know.
He is a guy though who he is a middle of the order bat. He's not necessarily a 40 home run guy, but he certainly should be a 30 home run guy. And we said it a couple weeks ago. His power numbers are there. His home run and RBI numbers will be there, but he needs to do more than that. He needs to do more than hitting 215 or 220. I mean, they took the shift away as a way to improve batting averages this year, and Lindor's has plummeted. Yeah. And it seems like the only time he's hitting the ball is when he's hitting a home run. So he needs more hits. He needs to get on base more. He needs to be he needs a 350 on base percentage or something close to that. I mean, the higher the on base percentage, if nothing else, it shows that a player is getting quality at bats. Because it means you're walking, it means you're commanding the strike zone as a hitter, and that is what you want from somebody like Francisco Lindor, who you're paying all this money to. And so far, he has not given that to the Mets. But that being said, I don't want to only put the blame on Lindor, but certainly he's the easy target because he's making so much money and he's not earning it.
No, not at all.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. All right.
But by the way, you were right about Felix Millan. He
Hank's a fan. Come on.
He batted .279 career, and he had how many hits? 1,617. So very good.
That was a researched opinion by Hank.
Okay. Yeah. Oh,
absolutely.
I researched that one. Yeah.
There you go.
But,
good job, Hank.
I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
I watch these like Facebook or Instagram reels, I think they call them. And they're constantly like, the pitcher throws the ball, it's obviously a ball, but the umpire calls it, strike three. The batter gets mad, and then he gets ejected by the umpire. I don't know, if it's happening more, the players being ejected. I see this happening someday where some ball player is going to take his bat and just club the umpire. I mean, I think I saw that happen once in the Mexican League. But do you think that the ball players are getting very aggressive towards the umpires? And the umpires reject them, or is it just hype?
I think it's probably you're seeing those videos. I mean, I don't know how much of that is happening on the major league level, but I don't think a major league player would do that. I could see it certainly happening in a Mexican league or a Venezuelan league or maybe even a college league or something where. The players are. I don't want to say more serious about the game because that's not what I mean, but less emotional about it. Maybe. I mean, because major league players. I think part of being a major leaguer is you come to accept that the umpires are not going to be perfect, and you can't allow that to get in your head. And the only time I see anything like that, well, I don't want to say the only time, but most of the time when you see something like that happening to a major leaguer, it's in their last at bat. So if the umpire has been screwing their team the whole game, like I remember seeing something. I think it was with Kyle Schwarber, who the umpire his strike zone was garbage all game, and in Schwarber's last at bat, he just went out of his mind. Because he got called on a strike three that was clearly about 8 inches outside. It was nowhere near the strike zone, and he let the umpire have it. I mean, I don't think there was ever any chance of a physical altercation, but Schwarber clearly was fed up and clearly let the umpire know that his performance that day was not up to snuff.
Well, Hank, what I'll say is if any batter ever hit an umpire with a bat, we're talking about rest of the season suspension, possibly next season suspension.
Yeah, that would be a massive
suspension. And also
100 games to start.
Also, the other thing might be that they lose their salary.
No, they would lose. The suspension is a loss of salary, so you'd lose a lot of money.
So that's a lot of money to give up. Now, do I expect them not to argue with them and do the old Earl Weaver thing right to your face? Earl Weaver was a genius of that. He never touched the umpire. So a lot of times he'd get put out of the game. So I can understand why a player might do it, but I think they want to keep their paycheck. And you know what? The best way to get back at something like this is to get hits.
Yeah,
So,
it's always like strike three, umpire makes a bad call, the player, flips his helmet, makes one comment, and then he gets ejected. And I'm like, I don't know. It seems like maybe the umpires are being a little hypersensitive.
Well, you're not allowed to say certain words to him. You can't say,
but you also can't argue balls and strikes. That's if a batter shows up an umpire after a called strike three, it's pretty much an automatic ejection, and it's immediate, because if the batter drops his bat or turns around and starts yelling, whatever. If it somehow shows up the umpire in a very obvious way, then you're gone, and the batter knows that.
Yeah,
and if the batter does that, he's looking to get thrown out, because he's looking to make a point, but then after he gets thrown out, then he'll go off, like I said, like Schwarber did that time that I saw in the video.
Yeah. Do you guys think that the pitching, the cameras are going to come to the majors, or
eventually? Yes, but not. It's not going to happen.
What, for pitching?
For calling strikes.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, they will.
I think you got it with if you're out or safe at a plate. Personally, I don't think they're going to bring it. I think we see the box on any channel now for pitching, and sometimes it doesn't look exact. And how are you going to judge it?
It's coming.
I can't see it.
It's computerized, brother. But it's not just. Don't worry about what you see on TV.
I don't think everything should look like a video game.
It's not. What the umpires would see and what Major League Baseball would see is not what you see on your television.
Well,
that's all I can tell you. I don't want to get into all the technical stuff.
I wouldn't do it. I know.
It's going to happen. Hank, trust me, inside of 5 years it will happen. It's not going to happen next season, but it's going to happen fairly soon. Before the end of the 2020s.
Yeah, well, I hope not. Anyway, Hank, we thank you for calling. Much appreciated. Call us next week. We'd love to hear from you again.
Yeah, thanks for letting me, chime in there. And good show, guys.
Thank you, Hank.
Thanks,
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
All right, have a great day. Okay, bye.
90.3 WHPC. Hank from Seaford calling in. Good for him. We like
questions.
Good questions there.
And I like the Felix Mian research. That was good stuff. I like an informed fan.
Well,
I've said this before, brother. I like an informed fan.
I know, brother. You're very much into facts and information.
But anybody knows Felix Mian's numbers. That's somebody who's done some research.
I'm looking at it right now. Felix Mian was 33 going on 34 when the Mets let him go.
Yeah.
And he probably could have played another 2 years at second base.
Somewhere. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but back then, when you were done, you were done.
I guess.
It wasn't... Guys didn't get the chance to hang on as long as they do today.
I mean, he played for the Braves and he played for the Mets. 73 comes over. The great 73 World Series making Mets, though they didn't win it. Though they should have, let's be honest. Hey, no.
Your ideas of who should win.
Tom Seaver shouldn't have pitched Game 6. They should have saved him to Game 7. Yeah, but that's me.
You got to win Game 6 to get to Game 7.
Yeah, but they were winning 3-2 in the series.
Doesn't matter.
I know why they did it, because Seaver would pitch and you thought he'd win.
Yeah, and you shut it down. Game 6 is over, and then you shut it down.
It's over.
You don't want to get to Game 7.
I know, brother.
That's the point.
But anyway, let's continue to talk about Aaron Judge.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing about this, it's we've discussed this before. I don't want to belabor it, but there was no protection on the wall at Dodger Stadium at the bottom. There's padding on the fence, but there's just concrete at where your foot is. So it was bound to happen at some point that somebody would get hurt. And sadly and unfortunately, that somebody is Aaron Judge, one of the best players in baseball, who's going to miss a significant amount of time because the Dodgers have concrete in their outfield,
right?
Which is moronic. Hopefully something's done about that. The Yankees, and let's face it, the Yankees, I think they're 9-10 since Judge got hurt. I'm pretty sure that's the number. Because they did win yesterday, they rallied against the Texas Rangers for a 5-3 win. Harrison Bader drove in a run. Anthony Volpe was, scored, and the Yankees were able to score. I think it was 3 in the 8th. I think it was, brother.
Well, they're 4-6 in the last 10.
Yeah, well, they're 4-2 in their last 6. So they've won consecutive series against the Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers. And the Rangers are a good team. So to win a series against the Rangers, that's a good thing. It's a positive, building a little momentum here. The Mariners are a pretty good team. So I'm happy with the last week for the Yankees. But at the same time, any Yankee fan will tell you they're frustrated right now because the offense has been struggling, to say the least. And Giancarlo Stanton has not been playing well, although he did drive in a run yesterday with a single. But the thinking, I think, among Yankee fans has to be that if and when Aaron Judge gets hurt and can't play, then Stanton is supposed to be the guy who steps in and shoulders that burden. And he has not been that guy.
No,
he's not even given the Yankees major league average in terms of his performance. And they're paying the guy what, $27, $28 million this year?
Yeah,
He's not. He's giving them major league guy. You could call up any guy. Put it this way: Jake Bauers is probably outperforming Giancarlo Stanton. I guarantee you, Jake Bauers is making no more than $1 million. He's probably making a major league minimum, which I believe is $550. So you could pay Jake Bauers $550 to do what he's doing, or you could pay Giancarlo Stanton $27 million to do what he's doing. I'll take the guy with the $550.
I'll take the guy who's hitting.
Well, that's more so Jake Bauers than Stanton. But
by the way, brother,
he got hurt,
I voted on the they have the voting for the All-Star game online.
Okay.
I voted for Joey Gallo. So just want to let you know. Why not?
Why?
Why not?
You're trying to get me going, brother.
Yeah, I did. I am. I did it.
Stop.
I was watching. First of all, they shouldn't have Joey Gallo up there.
They have everybody up there.
I know that's the problem.
So clowns can vote for him.
Yeah.
And then tell me and try and antagonize me.
That's right.
So nice job, clown.
Thank you.
Anyway, brother,
I think it's a great thing. Imagine he won.
And you're sitting here mocking the fact that he's on the ballot, yet you voted for him.
That's right.
You put an official vote in for him.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I was very proud of my vote.
Yeah.
He's batting like 189 or something.
Yeah, I know. I know what he's batting.
It's funny.
Thank you. It's like a vote for Tim Scott, brother. All right.
Okay, well, I didn't vote for him.
Good for you. Anyway, brother, the Mets. We'll change.
The Mets.
We'll switch up on the topics. The Mets. I just saw this stat yesterday and I was appalled. The Mets are 6-15 in the month of June.
Horrible.
That is the same as the Washington Nationals,
Horrible.
which are a horrible team, and it is the only team worse than the Mets this month are the Kansas City Royals at 5-17.
Horrible.
Just horrible. Oh man, Met fans. See, I like our man Hank. He says he's not on a ledge. Met fans, after yesterday, what in the hell happened yesterday in the 8th inning?
I don't know.
Mets have a 6-3 lead. I'm just going to go through this. All right. Some relief pitcher named Josh Walker. First of all, I don't even know who he is. Gets the first 3 batters he faces reach base. So, of course, Buck takes him out of the game. Buck Showalter. Brings in another guy named Jeff Brigham. Don't really know him a whole lot either. Brigham gets Alec Boehm, former Swami.
You should say the Swamis are your
my rotisserie. I think people know that.
I don't think anyone knows.
Well, Alec Boehm, former Swami, helped us win the title last year.
Of course.
But he gets Boehm to roll a hopper to third base. Brett Beatty grabs the ball. Looks like it's going to be a double play. And then for some reason, Brett Beatty double clutches. And then throws some kind of weird floater when he gathers himself, throws a floater towards second base that Jeff McNeil can't catch, and he's pulled off the bag. It was a horrible throw.
Was it a Chuck Knobloch throw?
It was worse. So a run scores on that, makes it 6-4. Brandon Marsh, Philly center fielder, then walks with the bases loaded. That brings in another run. Brigham then hit Kyle Schwarber in the knee. Well, there's another run. So the Phillies have scored 3 runs and they haven't gotten a hit.
Wow.
That's not easy to do.
No.
So, of course, everybody in Philly's going out of their minds because they're watching this and they can't believe that the Mets are actually a major league team. And then Brigham, who is still in the game, hits Trey Turner after coming really inside with a couple of pitches before that.
Right.
So now the Phillies lead 7-6. Walker and Brigham together. 4 runs, 3 of those earned, 1 hit, 3 walks, 2 hits batsmen. And they threw 16 pitches combined. How do you do that?
The Mets find a way.
Somebody asked Buck Showalter after the game. Buck, if you could have done it differently, would you have done it differently? And he looked at the guy and says, "What am I going to do different?" He goes, "I don't have anybody else to put in."
I agree.
David Robertson, he says, "Do you want to pitch? You want to pitch in the 8th?" Well, all right, fine. Who's going to pitch the 9th? He can't go 2 innings there. So, I mean, whoever it was who asked the question doesn't know a whole lot about baseball, because the question shows that whoever it was doesn't know the game. But Buck said, he says, hey, look, we use the guys who were available and who we have, and these guys should be capable of getting outs, because otherwise they don't belong on a major league roster.
Well, there's a lot of things wrong with the Mets right now. It's offense and defense. It's not hitting. It's bad pitching, and these guys are supposed to all be, better than they should be.
The Mets need to figure. The Mets right now. I'll tell you what. The Mets could use an All-Star break today, and it's not coming for another month, or another few weeks anyway.
Yeah,
Whenever, what is it? I forget when the All-Star break is. Find that out, brother. But the Mets need a total reset. They just need to figure it out, because Scherzer's talking about how we all got to be better, me included, and yes, especially Max Scherzer with his 4.5 ERA, making $43 million to pitch again, major league average. 4.5 ERA is not good. It's certainly not worth $43 million. Justin Verlander is in a similar place, although he's been better than Scherzer, but he missed a month with the strain of the Terrace Major. So, those 2 guys, that's $86 million worth of pitcher. Those 2 guys should be leading the charge. And instead, the Mets are having to put their faith in Jose Quintana, who struck out 5 and allowed 1 earned run in a rehab appearance with the Brooklyn Cyclones on Sunday. It says here, Quintana threw 47 pitches, 32 strikes, and struck out 5.
That might have been the better game to go to.
It definitely was. So Quintana probably will need 1 more start, as he hasn't thrown more than 4 innings in his 3 rehab appearances. I don't know why they didn't stretch him out a little more yesterday then. But it's saying he could return to the Mets rotation in early July if all goes well. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. If the Mets are waiting for Jose Quintana to be some kind of a savior, then disappointment is ahead, my friends. All right? I am somebody who is very familiar with Jose Quintana. He's been a member of the Schwammies more than once. He has disappointed us every time we have picked him up.
Then why do you pick him up if he's disappointed?
Because limited selections, brother, in the Rotisserie League.
Okay.
All right? When you need a starter and you got to have a guy because you're chasing wins, and you all right, let me try Jose Quintana. Okay. And you hope. Why the Mets gave this guy as much money as they gave him, I will never know. But if he
part of it was to show how big they were.
That part of it was because he actually had a good season last year with, I think it was St. Louis, and they were hoping he could replicate that. I don't see that happening. But if it does, then it would certainly help the Mets, because the Mets right now are just they keep hurting themselves. As much as other teams are beating them, they're beating themselves. Yesterday was a perfect example. They had that game. They were up 6-3. There's no way they should have lost that game.
No, they shouldn't.
And especially to lose it in such embarrassing fashion.
But they did it well in embarrassing fashion. So that's
you
know what I mean. They did it well in bad ways.
Also, brother, the Mets did get rid of a guy who the fans were all over in Eduardo Escobar. They had designated him for assignment, but on Friday they traded him to the Los Angeles Angels, who were in need, desperate need, obviously, of infield depth. The Mets got right-hand pitchers Coleman Crowe and Landon Marceau, who were ranked 19th and 20th in the Angels system, respectively, by MLB.com. I'll tell you what, that's a good return for Eduardo Escobar, considering they were looking to run the guy out of town. If you can get two guys who are legit prospects, which both of these guys are, if they're in the top 20, then I say good trade. I say good trade by Billy Epler, even if neither one of these guys ever pans out. At least you got a lottery ticket on a couple of guys who have shown that they're reasonable, decent prospects. So,
okay,
and then Escobar's first game with the Angels, they scored 25 runs against the Colorado Rockies. So he electrified their offense, brother.
Sometimes that happens.
Unbelievable.
Donklin, then it becomes a Met. They win the World Series. Keith Hernandez gets traded to the Mets. They win the World Series a few years later.
Well, who's getting traded to the Mets this year so they win the World Series?
I don't know. Probably no one. Anyway, brother, we're going to take a break right now. You're listening to 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. If you have any comments or questions, like Hank from Seaford, give us a call, 516-572-7440.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by United Auto Body, located at 275 East Merrick Road in Valley Stream. United Auto Body specializes in auto body repairs and insurance claims adjustments. Professional tow truck services are also available. Open 6 days a week, closed Sundays. More information is available at 516-825-1330. That's 516-825-1330. Or online at unitedautobodyin.com.
Would you welcome Frank Sinatra?
Hi, I'm Glenn DeMille. Join me for 2 swinging hours of music and memories with Old Blue Eyes on Sinatra Serenade, Saturday nights at 6 on 90.3 WHPC.
I think it's about time, don't you?
It's Big Ed inviting you to join me Mondays from 10 till noon for the Good Gold Show. We've got the greatest hits of all time, all your faves of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. A whole lot of fun, and we'll keep you informed. Plus, we'll take your requests and your dedications.
Playing favorites.
So join me Mondays from 10 till noon for Good Gold on 90.3 WHPC, available on the Odyssey, iHeart, and WHPC apps.
The views expressed on air are not necessarily those of WHPC, its management, or Nassau Community College. Responsible opposing viewpoints will be considered by emailing them to whpc@ncc.edu or by mail at WHPC 1 Education Drive, Garden City, New York 11530. Thanks for listening to the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Brother, we need more alarm songs in our archive.
Oh, that's what I forgot. Oh, wait a minute. I might have it.
The new album?
The new album. I think it's in my backpack.
Too late today. Maybe we can get someone to put it in today.
Could play forwards.
Yeah, that's what we can do. Anyway.
Quality song.
I'm sure.
Off the new album.
I'm sure it is. Anyway, you're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. Give us a call, 516-572-7440. I'm Rob Leonard. I do the show every week with my brother Tim. Tim Leonard, award-winning sports writer, by the way. Do you have that hanging on the wall, your award-winning sports?
Of course, brother.
Okay,
of course.
Just checking, man. Just checking, because you should have it somewhere. Not
on the wall.
Not in a box or anything.
On the wall.
Anyway, DC Drew wrote, thanks for coming this weekend. Glad we all got to hang. I don't know if he's listening to the show. Corey, our cousin Corey, listens afterwards. He listens to the podcast, which is always cool.
Because the show does become a podcast, brother. Although I know some people do doubt that still.
It's a podcast. You will see it in many different places. Anyway, the NBA draft happened, brother. And
it was a little fun. A little fun.
It was it?
I kind of enjoyed it. I was actually. I'll tell you a little story, brother. I went out to I'll just say a record store in Manhattan,
right?
Instead of giving them some pub, to see Mike Peters do what they call an in-store appearance. They don't do a lot of those these days. The music people, but Mike Peters, he's an old school kind of guy. He's looking to sell some of the new album called Forwards, by the way. And he was flying over from Wales, and I guess they probably leave out of Heathrow in London with the band, and they were playing the Gramercy Theatre So here's Mike. He's coming over, but they were delayed in customs for 2 hours.
Of course.
So we're standing out on the street in Rockefeller Center, where the record store was, and we're just waiting. And they finally showed up, and that's where I was Thursday night. I was hanging out, watching the alarm, watching Mike do a few songs, but basically waiting with a lot of friends. Mary Ellen, my friend, lost 130 pounds.
Good for
Phenomenal. Her. Barney, my man Barney, lost 76 pounds.
Good for him.
Spirit of 76, Barney. But we finally, by the time I got out of there, had my albums and CDs signed. And by the time I got home, the draft was way in place, way going on. It was I missed probably close to 10 picks or a dozen picks. When I got in, flipped on the TV, here's the draft, and what's the first thing I see? First of all, Stephen A. Smith in a horrid salmon-colored suit. Just horrid.
Does he personally pick bad suits at this point?
I have no idea. He makes enough money that he should be able to go out and buy himself a nice suit. But he is talking to, who was he? Scoot Henderson, who was the number 3 pick overall.
Right.
Went to the Portland Trailblazers. Two of Scoot's sisters are on the couch with him as they're talking. And all Stephen A. wants to talk about is how good-looking Scoot's sisters are.
He's a player, that
now,
Stephen A. Smith.
I'll give Stephen A. credit, because he was right on this one. I disagree with him on a lot of stuff.
I thought everything.
Scoot had a couple of good-looking sisters, but there's 7 kids in the family. This was 3 of them. And every time Scoot Henderson answered a question, Stephen A. was like, well, I don't care what you have to say, because I want to hear what your sister have to say. And I'm like, dude, this is his night. And you're clowning on the guy, and I don't know what with the sisters, but it was ridiculous. And every time Stephen A. Smith spoke during the draft telecast or broadcast, whatever, it sounded like he was about to have an aneurysm.
He might have.
He was on 9 or 10 the entire night. Everything was going just going nuts. And I'm like, dude, take a breath. Breathe a little bit. Chill just a little, because you sound like your brain is about to explode.
I would not be surprised.
And there's no reason for it.
You know, he has the great shtick, and that's why he's still around at ESPN as they keep firing
making
everyone.
A ton of money.
You know, he's got the radio shows, he's got the TV shows. He shows up everywhere.
That's part of the reason why they keep him around, is because he's willing to appear on everything.
Right.
I give him credit for the work ethic. I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what he says, but the work ethic cannot be questioned.
No, but that's, I do the same thing. I mean, I know some people in radio who work 5 different shows. And I'm not talking about me. I do 3. Well, right now 4, but they're little shows, and they're here. But I'm talking about other people who literally are on, Friday night, Saturday night. They're on every day during the week. They appear as guests on other shows.
Right, but that's Stephen A. All they do, if they call him, he will be on the air 10 minutes later.
Right.
I mean, that's and again, that's work ethic. If you have the setup and you can be on the air that quickly, and for my purposes, at least have a clue about what you're talking about,
right?
Which isn't always the case with Stephen A. Smith,
no.
but he's willing to be on the air and be the face of ESPN.
I hate to say this about him, but people watch him, and whatever you say or like or dislike about him,
it's all. I mean, people like John Sterling too, but it doesn't mean
who
he's
loves
good.
John Sterling? Ed Newland, who does Good Gold Show right after this.
I love Ed, but he's wrong. That's all I can say. He's wrong.
That was pretty funny. That pitch that hitting his head's going to be playing forever.
I love that. I love that. That was one of the great moments in Yankee history.
Yeah, it was.
For anybody who doesn't know, John Sterling, there's video of John Sterling being hit by a foul ball that comes bouncing into his booth, which I still don't understand how it happened, because he was looking at the ball the entire way, and it comes into the booth, hits right in front of him, bounces and hits him in the head.
Yeah,
and I'm like, how do you let that happen?
Put
your hand up, do something.
How do you not notice it's coming?
He looked the ball right into the booth.
Unless maybe that's why it's far, it's back, and it's caught At the,
All right, you're messing that up.
I know I am, but you know what I mean.
Anyway, brother, back to the NBA draft. As expected, the French phenom Victor Wembanyama went first to the San Antonio Spurs. Great for the kid. Great that he's going to have Greg Popovich as his coach for at least a couple of years. Pop is getting old, but I'm telling you right now, Wembanyama is the lifeline that Pop needed, because Pop is still one of the best coaches in the NBA, and this is going to extend his career by probably 5 years. Because who wouldn't want to coach this kid? He is a generational talent. People are comparing him to LeBron James. It's not in his game. It's in how much of an impact this kid could and should have, because he has skills that are just insane. He's anywhere from 7'3" to 7'5". We still don't know exactly how tall he is because I keep seeing different numbers. But he is at least 7'3", and he has ball handling skills like a point guard. It's insane. Somebody that tall should not be that good.
I worry
at
when
handling the ball.
I'm worried when they're that good, because then they start running, and then injuries could happen, brother. You know,
it's always possible. Look at Greg Oden. Greg Oden was supposed to be the next great center. He was supposed to be the next Bill Russell, and then his knees fell apart, and he turned out to be one of the great busts in draft history. So nothing is given. You know, you can always look at Jamarcus Russell from the NFL.
Yep.
Number 1 overall quarterback, was supposed to reinvent the position and turned into one of the biggest busts in NFL history. So anyway, Wembanyama to the Spurs. Great for them. Great for the city of San Antonio. Charlotte Hornets, a little bit of a surprise. I thought they were going to go with Scoot Henderson, but they went with Brandon Miller, small forward out of Alabama, at number 2. And then Scoot goes number 3, the Portland Trail Blazers. Portland is in transition because it remains to be seen what they're going to do with Damian Lillard. Will they trade him and go for the rebuild, or are they going to let Scoot and Damian play in on the same team, in the same backcourt, and see what kind of damage the two of them can do together? I don't know yet. We're going to see. We're going to see what the offers are. We're going to see what Portland's going to have to make a decision at some point and say this is where we're going and this is what we're doing. But obviously they're a much better team with Damian Lillard on it. But if they decide that they're going to build around Scoot, then that's the way to go. Get what you can for Damian while you still can. After that, brothers, twins, brother.
I'm listening.
Amen and Osar Thompson, twin brothers. One went to the Rockets. Amen went to the Rockets at number 4. Osar went to the Detroit Pistons at number 5. First time brothers have ever been selected in the top 5 of the draft, which is kind of a dubious stat because
brothers.
how many twins get drafted? Period.
Yeah.
The only other twins I remember. Well, actually, there was the Collins twins, the 2 centers, and the Van Arsdales. There's not too many twins who have played in the NBA. Period.
No.
Plus, how many brothers are going to be in the same draft class? Period. I mean,
that's right.
Just the fact that they're brothers tends to mean that there's at least a year age difference. So it used to be you had to graduate college before you could get to the NBA. Now, of course, you're not going to have your brother in your draft class. So it's kind of a stupid thing. The Knicks did not have a selection in the entire draft. I thought they might buy a second-round pick from somebody just to maybe bring in a fresh
The entire
face.
draft?
No first-round pick, no second-round pick.
Oh, okay.
The Nets they got a couple good players. At number 21, they selected Noah Clowney, Alabama power forward. He's very thin. That will change. He's only 18, 19 years old. He's 6'10", 205. But he was the youngest prospect in this draft class. So he will gain weight. He'll gain muscle. Remember how you were at 19, brother. Everybody's a stick at 19.
I was in great shape at 19.
Well, yeah.
I had a 2-pack, baby.
Yeah, but you were very lean. Because at that age you don't put weight on, and so they're gonna put him in the weight room.
Chicks loved me.
He is he is a high energy kind of big man. Can space the floor. He's his perimeter stuff. His perimeter game has been inconsistent. But you know what? If he's 6'10", 205, I don't want him shooting perimeter shots.
No.
Get to the basket, young man.
Well, that's the NBA. It's 3 points everywhere. So.
Well, get to the basket, young man. And then at number 22, the Nets had back-to-back picks. They picked Dariq Whitehead, a shooting guard from Duke, another one-and-done freshman. So the Nets got way younger, and Whitehead is more of a lottery ticket than Clowney. Clowney is regarded as more of a I don't want to say sure thing, but more ready for the NBA. Whitehead is a guy who they see as still improving, and especially his shot. But we're going to see because Whitehead was a guy who was very well regarded coming out of high school,
right?
And was a big time prospect. Wound up going to Duke, but his season at Duke, he only played 16 minutes a game off the bench.
So what's the point?
Because they're drafting on promise. And that's what you do. If you like this kid and you say, all right, you know what? He didn't have a good season because he had some injuries. He struggled a little bit here, with shot selection maybe. So we can teach him how we want him to play. And he has the physical skills to be able to do this. That's how they draft nowadays. You're not drafting a finished product by any means because none of these guys are 19.
I have no problems with them being drafted at a very young age, because why not make the money if you can? It just seems that you would think you were a better player after being a senior than being a freshman.
Well, you are, but that's nowadays NBA teams are that's the learning ground. It's not college basketball anymore. Because these guys are coming out. Because why play college ball for free? Although now you have NIL, so you'll make some money. But why not get an NBA contract?
No, I agree, man. I just it seems that Duke gathers those people.
A lot of one and dones at Duke nowadays.
I wonder if they get to keep their scholarship. Does that continue on? I mean, they had an agreement.
I don't think so. I think once they leave, then they leave they abandon the scholarship. But yeah, I mean, Whitehead is described. This was from ESPN. There are a lot of questions. There are real questions about his lack of explosiveness and ability to generate efficient offense. And then it says Whitehead, despite shooting 40% from three-point range and showing strong flashes defensively, Whitehead's struggles as a decision maker, creator, and finisher have made it difficult for him to gain traction and solidify his candidacy as a first-round prospect. So you're talking about a guard who struggles as a decision-maker, creator, and finisher. That's a significant amount of struggle for a guard.
That's a lot of things. We should say that on Wednesday, the NHL draft happens at 7 p.m. It's going to be...
I'm not looking forward to this.
No, I'm not. First of all, it's in Nashville, home of the Predators.
Nashville, a fun town. Fun town.
Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. Round one will be on ESPN. And then
that's good. You don't need more than one round. Nobody knows who these guys. Yeah, nobody in the United States knows. Who these
rounds
guys are.
2 through 7 will be on the NHL Network.
There you go. Good stuff.
Yeah. So,
but you know who you won't be seeing on the NHL Network very much, brother?
Who?
The New York Islanders. We don't have picks.
Oh, okay. Well,
no first-round pick for the New York Islanders. No third-round pick for the New York Islanders.
Well, they thought they were trading for people who are going to bring them to the finals. It hasn't happened yet.
It's just somebody has to tell my man Lou Lamoriello that you can't rebuild a team without first-round picks. And I know they got Bo Horvat, and Bo Horvat played a pretty significant role.
I thought
just in getting the Islanders to the playoffs, which was why they acquired him. But if you don't have a first-round pick, you don't have a third-round pick, and you have one pick in the first 100 picks, and that's at number 49.
Yeah,
you're not getting significant assets. So I don't know what or how the Islanders are going to fix what's wrong with this team when their pick is in the middle of the second round at number 49. The Detroit Red Wings, for example, will make 5 picks before the Islanders make their first. The Red Wings have two first-round picks.
Wow.
And then they have 3 consecutive second-round picks, which is unheard of. They will be picking at 41, 42, and 43. So the Red Wings are just going to take their time at that point. They're going to be like, all right, we're going to hang out here. We're going to smoke a cigar. We're going to look at our board, and we're going to see what we can do about bringing some talent in. But the Red Wings, I'll tell you what, five picks like that, They're going to be able to turn it around quick.
They might be able to trade a couple too.
They might. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade at least one of those picks, depending on what they can get back. But you know what? If I'm the Red Wings, I don't mind all of these guys coming up together and learning the system and coming on the scene together, because you can change your team around in a hurry.
Very much.
If you make if 4 of those 5 guys hit, then the Red Wings are a contender in 4 years.
Definitely. I'd say even less.
Maybe less. It depends.
We should say the first 5 picks are the Blackhawks, the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, the Sharkies, and the Sharks, and the Canadians.
Connor Bedard, brother, will be going number 1 to the Chicago Blackhawks. 71 goals, 143 points in 57 games for Regina of the Western Hockey League last year.
Wow.
Michigan center Adam Fantilli, the consensus number 2 pick to, as you said, the Anaheim Ducks. 30 goals and 65 points, and he won the Hobey Baker Award as a freshman. You know who else did that, brother?
No.
Paul Kariya.
Really?
Paul Kariya was a stud. You win the Hobey Baker as a freshman, you are a stud. So Adam Fantilli is going to go to the Ducks like Paul Kariya did. I think there's a little bit of symmetry there.
Well, for them, yeah. Sure.
So,
well, this is the year the Islanders. You know, I hate to say this, but we've been saying it for the last 5 years with the Islanders. They're not getting close to the finals. They've gotten close enough, but not there. So I'm just a little disappointed what's going on with the Islanders, because
they are still, I will say, one of the better teams in the NHL, but the window to contend is closing. Well, it's not opening.
Once the Devils
they're just getting older.
Once the Devils and the Rangers started playing good, I worried about them tremendously. So.
I'm still not convinced that the Rangers are that much better than the Islanders. The Devils will be, because the Devils have a lot of good young talent, and that good young talent is now getting to their mid-20s and getting to that point where they are now turning in. They're the boys turning into men, and that's a great time in a player's career. And the Devils have a lot of guys like that.
Right. We should say the Hall of Fame for the NHL was announced. Heinrich Lundqvist, Rangers, he's in there. Tom Barrasso, Mike Vernon was also selected for the Hockey Hall of Fame.
It's a goalie seat. You're the goalie, brother.
As announced last Wednesday, Pierre Turgeon, Islander.
Former Islander.
And Canadian women's hockey star,
Caroline
Ouellette. So good for them. I didn't know they were putting women in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, of course.
I know there's women's hockey. I mean,
yes.
I know there's a league. It doesn't get much play. But there was a team called the New York Riveters. They played it in Brooklyn, but then I don't think they're there anymore. But at least they tried there. Anyway, Lundqvist had played this entire season with the Rangers, man.
Entire career, brother. Yes, not season.
Yeah, so, you know what I mean.
Yes.
6th
in career wins, brother. 459. 9th in career games played at 887. 11th in career save percentage, 918. He won the Vezina Trophy as the NHL's top goaltender in 2011-12 and was a finalist for the award a total of 5 times. Also was a finalist for the Hart Trophy as league MVP also in 2011-12.
Right, and Turgeon has been available to be put into the Hall since 2010.
Yeah.
Never won a Stanley Cup. Played for the Islanders. Was beat up upon in a playoff series, sadly, because he won the Lady Byng Award.
Yes, but he played most of his career was spent with Buffalo and St. Louis, but did have a few significant seasons for the Islanders.
Yeah, and in the WNBA, the New York Liberty play over in Barclays Center, been playing very well.
Yes.
They not sadly, but importantly, are starting to get more focus, I guess is the best way, because you know how I know, brother? I watch all these sports shows, on Channel 11 and other places, and they're always putting the Liberty in there, which they didn't always do.
They get more attention.
Yeah,
I mean the Liberty. I'm not sitting here going crazy about the Liberty in the sense that I know they're going to be good. They have been good, but this is a team that made so many changes in the offseason. You need to give them a little bit of time to figure out how to play together.
Right.
Because they brought in Breanna Stewart, they brought in Courtney Vandersloot. They really remolded their entire team.
Yeah.
So they're 9-3. They beat the Washington Mystics yesterday, 89-88. They overcame a 17-point deficit in that game. But they are now 9-3. The Connecticut Sun are 12-3 and are leading the Eastern Conference. And Liberty forward Breanna Stewart has been voted one of the WNBA All-Star Team captains. The WNBA is going to do it like the NBA does. They're going to just have Stewie and another captain, and they're just going to pick these. Probably going to be Asia Wilson from the Las Vegas Aces.
So it's like a pickup game or something.
Basically, it's just going to be like they're going to pick players, and they're probably going to trade players because that's what happened last year. Because Asia Wilson kind of forgot to pick a point guard. The only point guard she picked was Sue Bird. And 40-year-old Sue Bird was not going to play the entire game.
No, not at all. Anyway, brother, I've mentioned a couple of things here. Play It Cool every Thursday at 9 p.m., an hour dedicated to the latest hip-hop and R&B music, mostly recent and popular records, but we can also showcase timeless classics. That's Play It Cool every Thursday at 9 p.m., right here on 90.3 WHPC. And don't forget, here's your WHPC weather forecast, powered by Pantanos, with locations in Hewlett, Uniondale, Garden City Park, Freeport, and coming soon to Levittown. This afternoon, it's going to be high about 76 degrees. It's going to be mostly cloudy today, possible scattered thunderstorms on the nighttime edition of the day. And then tomorrow, it's going to be raining on and off the entire day, high about 74. You're listening to 90.3 WHPC. And Big Ed's coming up next. Anything else, brother, we have to mention? We done?
I think we're done.
Okay.
Let's be done.
Anyway, thank you for listening. This show becomes a podcast later on. Thank you for calling Hank from Seaford, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care and bye-bye.